In this movie, Jack will take the machine far enough apart to show you how the mechanism actually does its selection. He'll also show you where dirt builds up that we cannot see until we have disassembled quite a bit. You may or may not want to go this far in. You've got to make a judgment based on your skill level and confidence. So this may just be an informative look inside for you, or it may be help with deep cleaning.
All right, let's look at what's actually going on here. Spring, spring, and you notice these pop in and out. They're like the U's on the
more modern brothers?
Yeah, the more modern brothers. Now 5 was sticking. Oops. Now see what's supposed to happen is this is supposed to come over and hold it. This stays in its track. Now we're going to try to release it. And
sluggish. It's not going all the way.
Oh, if we help it from the bottom, let's try this one. See, this isn't moving at all. That has to move over. And it does rely on gravity a certain amount. So with me holding it up here like this,
you're making it tougher.
I am making it tougher. But see, nobody's doing their job here.
And yet all the parts are in position and all the buttons move. So from the outside, it's hard to determine what's going wrong.
Right. But from in here, we can see. Now let's lay it down if the camera can go with me. And I will try number 5. And now you see how that gravity assisting that? Here, we'll do number 1. See, with gravity helping, this does want to swing into place. But that means if there's anything like this yellowing that you see right here, that's going to prevent that from happening.
Slows it down just enough. Yes, and you can see that one is misbehaving a little.
Yeah, see, if I take my screwdriver, that's number 6. Good old number 6. If I do that and I give it a little bit of help, yay! And you see they're still sluggish. Look at this one.
What we need in order to knit effectively is for it to pop into the positive, yes, I am down position.
Yes.
And then when you release it, immediately totally release, not slide tediously up.
Right. And you see what we're dealing with. These are little coil springs. These are compression springs inside of here, just like the buttons on a newer brother. You know it relies on that spring to get it back out of there. But look,
very naughty.
That spring's got all it can do to just pop it back if there's no impediment. So it looks like the cleaning, and look at it, when I hold it down a little bit, there's some discoloration right here, and a whole lot of what's been hard grease, but we've loosened it up, but we just got to get it out of there. See, we got a bad one.
And it's been a little bit random in my experiments of knitting. One would misbehave, then it would seem to cure itself, then another would misbehave. Definitely we're getting a streak with 4, but you're going to advise me exactly how to, and what to clean next, right?
Yes. All right. This is, what I'm doing is removing this guard plate so we can get behind it. This is a potential for a sprawling moment. So you loosen the 2 little screws, one there and one on the other end, so that you can lift this slightly and feel, is there any tension against it? Because these are springs underneath here. So now we're clear, and we're going to set this aside and then see what we can do to clean up. All right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to flex this down like it was actuating and see if the camera can get in here and see what the problem really is. See that, all that blackness, all that stickiness?
Oh, we have no other way to see it.
Right, and here it is. It's on all of these in little bits and pieces.
So what Jack is doing is exactly what happens when we move the selector handle. Watch. That's where he's wiggling, and that's where the reaction takes place.
Keep it on. Notice if I hold this at the bottom, see all that lever is this roller working against this post. There it is. The spring's released, but if I hold it, you can see that's all that lever is doing. So what I did was do it by hand. And here's your return spring right here.
That looks to be in good shape.
Yeah, this part of it is nice and smooth. But notice the discoloration underneath here. While we got it out, let's clean that up and add some fresh silicone. And here is flex this down and put the Leatherman tool in so that this little pusher can't come back. And now here we are. Let me show you the oh no moment. These little guys will lift right out. So while you're cleaning, while you're spraying, be aware that they have to drop in here, and there's a tiny, tiny hole on this base plate. And what you do is you turn it where you can see the hole, camera can't see. Get a good grip on it with the hemostats. Manipulate it around until you can get it in its seat hole. And once you do, it'll drop right back into place. This time, I think
you're missing it. We can see and you can't.
There you go. I just had to get the right angle.
Yeah.
But once they drop down, that's fine. But this is something to seriously be aware of while you're manipulating the bed and trying to clean it up. Now, what we're going to do is show you the relationship between the buttons and the selector rods. I'm going to move these needles out of the way just so we can show you those selector rods right there in case you're new to this. But you'll notice they're stepped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 8 is farther from the rail than number 1. So you see your repeat pattern right there in the selector rods. And what it is this is actually number 1 corresponding to button number 1. And then as they step down, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, button 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to push button number 1, and look what happened. Selector 1 came up all the way down the line. 1 there, 1 there, 1 right there, 1 right there. Now if we activate our rod, and it pushes the number 1 needle out in every selection. All right, we selected 1 and watched it work. We're going to go 1, 4. I have to be gravity because the buttons only lock when they're straight up and down. And 7. All right. Now, as I move the rod, here we go. This is the carriage for the selectors. So as that comes down, the buttons we've selected are the ones that come out. I had to get away so that these had room to come out. But there's our selection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. See, there's 8 back there. So this is the pattern that we get when we do that. But you saw how the plates move with the ratchet. And we did this earlier. Let me bring these back. A thing to check for your own security is to do it by hand. You can actually move this to make sure that these junctions are smooth and clean, as are these right here, by hand. Now, with the bed up like this, the needles can't come out.
So the selection will fail, even though everything's correct.
Well, it'll move them, but not far enough. But I'm just saying that the ratcheting handle will move them all the way once the bed is completely horizontal. But this lets you know, we had this apart, this is lined up correctly. All of these are clean, and they're moving smoothly. And there's another set, if the camera can, right down here on the far end. So 1 on each end, 1 sort of off center to the middle. There's our selection. It knitted them. This is exactly what you would do when you're using the machine, but we want to show you how smooth it should be and how much the carriage should just glide.
The next segment in this series is really aimed at advanced mechanics. It's here to help experts who are simply new to looking inside this machine feel free to enjoy it if you just want to see a good look deep inside the machine, but we are not really recommending that beginning to intermediate do-it-yourselfers attempt what you see in the next movie solo.